Hi, my name is Mark Bernard. I'm a monetary economist. In this video, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about the economic stimulus plan for Russia from Moscow. As we know, the Russian economy is facing, to say the least, severe headwind, high interest rates, falling ruble, worker shortage, zero to negative budget, a lot of headwind, and it is on the verge of collapse. But all over Moscow, I hear something. All over Russia, I hear something. You know, I monitor these channels. I hear them jumping up and down with all excitement. The Russians are talking about something called Markov. Markov. They're so excited. In fact, I see these, YouTube women. They're jumping up and down and saying, Markov. What are they talking about? Well, at first I'm thinking about they're talking about me because my name is Mark. And in the Slavic languages, we have vocative case, and it's like Marku. If I to jest Mark, widzę Marka, dałem Markowi. So the noun changes. If you don't know anything about cases, I highly recommend you do not look it up. It's another grammatical quagmire. But anyway, so I'm thinking Markov. Maybe I'm hearing it wrong. And then I made the connection. They're talking about something like marhevki. Marhevki is carrot. They're talking about the carrot. All over Russia, they're talking about the carrot. They're very excited. All around the Kremlin, rarely do you hear free expression. But this time, free expression, all about the carrot. What do they mean by the carrot? Well, I think you know what they mean. The carrot is an economic stimulus plan coming from Washington. It's called the carrot. They say the carrot and the stick, but anytime you hear anybody from Washington say the carrot or mention the carrot, this is what it's about. In simple economic terms, the neo-Keynesian consensus model, which I don't necessarily follow, but it's very good for a conceptual framework which you can subsequently hang facts and data on. You have y equals C plus I plus G, and then we'll say plus NX, but carve out NX for now. Y being the national income, C being consumption, I being investment, and G being government expenditures. A lot of times in my class, I ask people, what's the biggest component? And they say G. And I say, actually, it's C. Consumers drive the economy. Or sometimes they say I, the business sector and capital formation occurs in I, the investment component, I equals S. And it's driven by the relationship between the natural rate and the bank rate, and the G siphons the money through a reallocation into that sector. So a stimulus usually comes as an artificial distortion of market mechanisms, and you're allocating more to G. So the stimulus is this. The carrot they're talking about is, one, the economic incentives being offered to the Tsar of Russia to just sit down at the table. One being easing oil sanctions. Two, returning the oligarch or boyar, look up the Russian word boyar, money back to the Tsar. And three, just warming economic trade and relations generally. This is what they mean by the carrot. When you hear Washington say the carrot and the stick, it is an economic stimulus plan, bailout to help the Russian economy from falling. So when I see these, YouTube women, they're jumping up and down saying the carrot, they're getting all excited. And they're talking about the carrot, not the literal carrot I have here. Okay, it's kind of gnarly, but a lot of prebiotics, I'm sure. They're talking about an economic stimulus plan. That's actually pretty good. They're talking about, they know that the Russian economy is about to collapse. The central bank is taking all but, I think, $13,000 of retail bank savings. But now they might not have to because Washington has the biggest bailout in history called the carrot or the carrot and the stick. Oh, anyway, a comment on those YouTube women from Russia. Man, they need a better hairdresser. They fry their hair, basically. They have these bright orange, red colors or whatever, but, fashion advice, just use a bar soap and don't worry about your natural hair color. So this is an economic stimulus plan. It's spun as both sides are going to have to make concessions. It's going to be tough choices, but it is nothing more than a classical Keynesian stimulus pumped into the NX sector, reviving the Russian oil production. They'll spin it as maintaining stability for the global oil markets. Let me give you a history lesson. Economics 101. Whenever a market is faced with a situation in a free market of movement of labor and capital, and I represent freedom, democracy, free movement of capital, the prices adjust and the market mechanism works. Let the markets work. Always let the markets work. If we were to carve Russia out of the economic equation of the entire globe, what would happen? It would be the biggest so what on the planet. The market mechanism adjusts. We probably start rapidly developing alternative energies, green energies, non-fossil fuel energies, make the world a better place type situation. But instead, Moscow number one, Washington number two. The Russians are excited about the carrot and the stick. I think the deal is you get Putin down there, you get the Tsar of Russia sitting down, and the carrot is you're free economically. We're going to stimulate you. And the stick to him is they carve out at let's say 30% of Ukraine and say, you Russify that, okay? That's yours for the next, 30 years or something. But anyway, the way the Russians think in a geopolitical sense, it's not the way the West thinks. We had the Renaissance, we had the Enlightenment, we had John Locke, Rousseau, definition of property rights. The way the Russians think is this. Me kaboom that. Me kaboom this. Me take that land. They think they're coming in there, the art of the deal, everything's going to be so savvy and great, and we're going to be, okay, I'm going to get in 5 minutes late and make the other guy nervous type situation. No. You look at Russian history full of 500 years of autocracy, they're like, me take that land, me kaboom this. They're not thinking subtle negotiations, these are complex negotiations. They're thinking, me kaboom that. Oh, you give us money, we do biologicals. And you know what I mean by biologicals, the next generation. When we bigger, stronger in 50 years, we use biologicals. We kaboom that. They didn't have the Enlightenment and these Rousseau, French, English, Italian, Polish philosophers. They didn't have this in the collective unconscious and fed in. And from a philosophical standpoint and a collective Jungian unconsciousness standpoint, this is a significant story. The economic stimulus will probably immediately put a lifeblood back into the Russian economy. The oil will flow. The markets will be clear. Prices will adjust. And there will be such a great boom coming from the carrot, the metaphorical, that everybody's jumping and exciting. And Russians, you can go to the Telegram type channels or whatever you use, and you can monitor this, talking about the carrot and the stick, diplomacy and art of the deal, negotiations. We're going to keep this savvy, and I've mastered negotiation. You watch how tough a negotiator I am. They don't think like that at all. The economic stimulus will first feed into oil exports. The revenue will go directly into the G component. The G component will release these draconian measures put on the Russian people, such as the retail banking sector. It will lift and boost confidence in the ruble, okay? That will make the ability to buy more with their economic ties to Iran and North Korea and China and India. Then, even Western companies will start getting in through these loopholes because we've warmed relations. And the investment component, interest rates will start coming down, inflation will start coming down, consumption will start going up. It will be the biggest 2.0, I know that that's overused, boom in history for the Russian Federation. All because of the carrot. The carrot, just listen to people it's an economic incentivization to bring negotiations to the table, but it is all cream, not enough milk. It is just so rich that if you gulp that down, the Russian economy will be bloated, and their consumers know it. They're all excited about getting the next electronic gadget. Again, I saw these like military wives of Russian, they're like 22-year-old. They're all on, social media spaces bragging how they're getting compensated. They're paid by the Kremlin to be poster children of, compensated for being military wives of these brave Russians defending the homeland. And I use that in quotes. And you're thinking, well, what if they become, meat and, they're just gone on the front line, which probably is going to be the case. Do you think those ladies care? They'll just swap it out for the next guy. Because there's nothing innately wrong with Russians as a whole. It's a collective unconsciousness that has been propagandized into this mentality that materialism, and I'm an economist, is the ultimate good, and it isn't. Life in itself, liberty, justice, freedom. We all should be striving for truth. Aristotle, Plato, they talked about beauty, truth, and goodness. On an individual basis, truth is number one, believe it or not. Freedom, equality, and justice. And on a social basis, justice is number one. These ideas didn't penetrate this collective unconsciousness. Kaboom that did. And then bragging. I would think that's like blood money, okay? So listen up. Let me tell you what you think. If you've ever heard the term, the carrot or the carrot and the stick coming out of Washington, Moscow number one, Washington bows its head, talks about stimulating with the carrot, and Washington number two, far, far number two. My name is Mark Biernot. I'm a monetary economist. Have a great day. Thank you very much.